Hello everyone. In this presentation, I will introduce the contents of multiphysics simulation using multi-flexible body dynamics and CFD code simulation, along with examples for your better understanding. As you can see in the detailed list of contents, first I will explain the multi-flexible body dynamics. After that, the particle-based CFD and multiphysics simulation using CFD code simulation are ready to be introduced. Now, let's start with the multi-flexible body dynamics. It is also called MFBD. Multi-flexible body dynamics is a technology to analyze the dynamic behavior of the system, which include both rigid bodies and flexible bodies using multibody dynamics and finite element method. As you can see, the entire system or only a specific body can be used as a flexible body. Therefore, it is possible to simulate the dynamic behavior of a system, including both rigid and flexible bodies efficiently. These multi-flexible body dynamics can be classified into two categories. The first one is nodal method using a full flexible body. With this nodal method, it is possible to perform a nonlinear analysis in consideration of the degrees of freedom of all nodes of the flexible body. Nonlinear analysis includes geometric nonlinearity, such as large deformation of hoses, material nonlinearity, such as plastic material, and boundary nonlinearity with a contact or varying load points. The second is nodal method using a reduced flexible body. The modal method utilizes the mode shape calculated from the modal analysis of a flexible body. The modal method performs the simulation based on the assumption that deformation of the flexible body is linear by applying mode superposition. The modal method is suitable for the cases where the deformation is small or when the loading point do not change. Then, what is the benefits of the multi-flexible body dynamics? Flexible multibody dynamics is based on the rigid multibody dynamics. Multibody dynamics can simulate the behavior of a system composed of rigid bodies and also calculate joint loads or driving force and torque. Based on this, the expanded version can be multi-flexible body dynamics. Multi-flexible body dynamics allows to simulate the stress applied to the part, evaluate the durability, and analyze the behavior of the system, considering the deformation of the part. The example video on the left below is a model consisting of drivetrain shift fork as a flexible body. It is possible to calculate the stress generated in this shift fork and even perform durability evaluation. And the example on the right is a manipulator. When the manipulator operates, the end tip actually vibrates excessively, so it needs to be controlled to reduce the vibration. Only with rigid bodies, these vibrations are not expressed accurately. The vibration caused by the deformation can be expressed when the system is composed of flexible bodies together. Another important benefit of multi-flexible body dynamics is the test connectivity. By applying the data measured in the actual vehicle driving test to analysis, it is possible to confirm the deformation and stress acting on the torsion beam or cabin of the truck. This is very important since it can be used to validate product design. In the video shown below, you can see the deformation caused by the actual behavior of the joint boot. In this way, the same phenomena occurring in the test can be implemented in the simulation to process the design improvement. In addition, multi-flexible body dynamics is required for nonlinear model that cannot be expressed with rigid bodies only. First of all, in the case of geometric nonlinearity, large deformation, large displacement, and large rotation are involved. In most cases, when there is a noticeable deformation visually, we call it as a large deformation. Quantitatively, if the strain is greater than 0.2%, it needs to be treated as a large deformation. The behavior of a can being crushed, the behavior of a parachute due to air resistance, and the behavior of a flexible belt are examples of geometric nonlinearity. In the case of a flexible sheet such as thin paper as seen on the right, wrinkles caused by a roller are also expressed. In the case of shooting an arrow, the behavior of both the bow and arrow is caused by a large elastic deformation with elasticity. The interaction between them allows the shooting of an arrow. The second is material nonlinearity for hyperelastic materials and plastic materials. The case number 1 shows the simulation of wiper behavior. In this case, a hyperelastic material was used for the wiper, and the wiping behavior can be analyzed based on the characteristics of the hyperelastic material. The case number 2 and 3 are about rolling simulations of plastic materials. Multiflexible body dynamics can also handle the plastic materials. The third is boundary nonlinearity for contact. Contact is an important element in multibody dynamics, and it is also an essential element in nonlinear simulation. Let's look at the simulation of the paper discharge behavior of printer first. The red axle rollers are arranged in the form of zigzag, and accordingly, the paper and the rollers are in contact to transport the paper. At this time, the paper is deformed due to the contact with the rollers, and it affects the dynamic behavior of the paper when it is discharged from the printer. In the case of landing gear, the behavior due to the contact can be seen. In the case of clutch plate, its behavior involves a large deformation. When it is pressed, a large deformation occurs, so you can see a strong contact force generated by the elastic force. In the case of punching machine, it handles the plastic material. You can see the area where permanent deformation occurs due to the contact between the plastic material and the punching head. So far, I have introduced what areas and in which cases multiflexible body dynamics are required. Next, two more examples of multiflexible body dynamics analysis will be briefly introduced. The first one is the example of the nodal method using full flexible body. For the undercarriage of an excavator, some parts such as links, sprockets, rollers, and idlers are generated as flexible bodies, and the virtual driving simulation was performed. It is possible to analyze the stress generated in links, sprockets, rollers, and idlers while driving and even evaluate durability. The second one is the example of the modal method using reduced flexible body. This is a large stacker system. The large system is composed of modal flexible bodies using mode shapes. You can see that contact ratio occurs in the area indicated by arrow. When a large structure moves for loading, vibration due to deformation occurs. At this time, the vibration needs to be controlled for the stable loading. Multiflexible body, MFBD, using the modal method can be used for the simulation of this kind of large system, including controller. So far, I have introduced what multiflexible body dynamics is and its benefits and various examples. From now on, let me introduce you to the particle-based CFD and multiphysics using it. First of all, what is multiphysics simulation? It is a combined simulation process for two or more physics fields which solves problems by linking them and interact with each other in the system. Here, the important keywords are interact and in the system. First, let me talk about multiphysics in terms of physics. The diagram focuses on multibody dynamics. In this way, solving problems by interacting with each other such as finite element method, particle dynamics, and fluid dynamics can be represented as multiphysics. In this presentation, I will introduce you to the multiphysics from the perspective of analysis solutions. Multiphysics simulation represented here is a combination of one or more structural analysis, gear simulation, or CFD while centering on multibody dynamics to create a new solution. FSI, which means fluid structure interaction, refers to a combined simulation between fluid and structural analysis. But here, what I am going to explain is not about structure, but about dynamics. This means the multiphysics simulation that combines fluid and multibody dynamics. It is one of the difficulties in CA industry to simulate the fluid and system-level mechanical model together. For example, if you need to predict oil sloshing in a powertrain simulation, MFBD expertise is required to simulate the dynamic behavior of the powertrain, and the CFD expertise is also required for oil simulation. In addition, it takes a lot of simulation time and eventually increases the cost. In order to easily solve the FSI problems, co-simulation between multibody dynamics and particle-based CFD with a specialized interface can be a breakthrough. When performing a co-simulation of multibody dynamics and particle-based CFD, which is a multiphysics simulation, not only the dynamic behavior of the mechanical system, but also more realistic fluid behavior can be predicted. This makes it easy to handle the interaction between the system and fluid. In addition, loads caused by fluids, for example, drag force such as gear oil scattering, driving force, and conservative force such as buoyancy force, can be applied directly to the surface of rigid or flexible bodies in the system. It allows you to calculate the loads acting on the entire system. And it is possible to analyze the results from these co-simulations in various forms such as animation, contour plot, and trace. All this can be achieved using the co-simulation using RecurDyn and ParticleWorks, Multibody Dynamics software, and particle-based CFD software. Then, what is a particle-based CFD? Particle-based CFD uses many particles to represent the fluid, unlike the traditional CFD software that use meshes. Therefore, it allows easy modeling and is advantageous in problems such as free surface or moving boundary. When using meshes, it takes a significant amount of time to generate the optimal ones. In addition, in the case of problems of free surface or moving boundary, it is not easy to calculate them accurately using meshes. On the other hand, particle-based CFD that does not use meshes allows easy modeling and can easily simulate changes in the surface or splashing of liquid. Due to these benefits of particle-based CFD, the compatibility between multibody dynamics and particle-based CFD goes well. Most fluid considered in a mechanical system involve splashing, free surface, moving boundary problems as shown in these three examples. The splashing, free surface, moving boundary problems are considered difficult to solve using traditional CFD software. However, Using particle-based CFD makes it easier to solve these problems by simply generating fluid particles. As explained earlier, the pre-processing time can be significantly reduced by using a meshless method. Since GPU computing, one of the features of particle method, can be used, so the simulation time can be also greatly reduced. This makes it easier to include fluids in the system-level model and perform a dynamic analysis. From now on, let's take a look at the cases of co-simulation between multibody dynamics and particle-based CFD using RecurDyn and ParticleWorks. First of all, here are 8 cases of co-simulation between RecurDyn and ParticleWorks. The first case shows the simulation of a vehicle passing through a flooded road. It is possible to analyze how water enters the engine room, how much water enters, and how it drains. The second one is about the behavior of water splash due to a vehicle. The third one is the simulation of oil jet behavior of a piston. Since the piston operates at a high speed, it is not easy to observe the oil jet behavior by experiment. At this time, oil jet behavior can be predicted through the co-simulation of multibody dynamics and particle-based CFD. The first one shows the simulation of water splash on the bottom of the vehicle when a vehicle passes through a puddle. Recently, a lot of electric vehicles are being developed. The battery of an electric vehicle are usually be located at the underpart of the vehicle, and it is possible to predict whether water flows into the battery or not. The fifth one is an analysis model in which a high viscosity fluid is agitated by a mechanical system. The sixth is an agitation model of fluid and solid particles. The seventh case shows the oil sloshing simulation of a powertrain. Since the powertrain rotates at a high speed, it is not easy to observe the oil behavior inside every time the design is modified. In this case, this multiphysics simulation is really helpful to understand and validate the design. The last 8 case is model similar to the fifth, in which fluids with different properties are agitated by the mechanical system. So far, we have looked through the cases of co-simulation between multibody dynamics and ParticleWorks using RecurDyn. From now on, let me introduce the co-simulation cases of multi-flexible body dynamics and particle-based CFD software. This case is about interaction analysis between the rubber baffle, which is a flexible body, and fluid in the water tank, and they have been compared with an actual experiment. As you can see here, when the tank was artificially shaken left and right, the behavior of the baffle and fluid are quite similar to the results recorded in the high-speed camera, shown in the upper right. The graph below shows the behavior of the end of the baffle, and we can confirm that the experimental measurements and the simulation results are much the same. The next case shows the behavior analysis of a flexible tube through which fluid flows. You can see how the behavior of the flexible tube is affected when the fluid passes through the inside of the flexible tube and is discharged by the high pressure. The case below shows the simulation of the changes in the water surface of the inner fluid according to the flexibility characteristics of a spherical container. The red line you see here indicates the tracking line of the outermost fluid surface. In the left model, the sphere is made of steel, and in the right model, the flexibility of the sphere container is increased to resemble the characteristics of vinyl. The following case is the driving simulation of a vehicle running on a flooded road. For your information, the tires are made of flexible bodies. This shows the behavioral characteristics of the drag force acting on the tires by the fluid when the vehicle passes through the flooded road. As mentioned earlier, by creating particles using particle-based CFD, the water splash can be predicted well. The next case is a vehicle model similar to the one we just checked. This analysis shows the stress generated in the undercarriage of the vehicle when a vehicle whose lower part is made of a flexible body passes through a flooded road. In this case, you can see that the vehicle becomes buoyant as it passes through a flooded road, and the rear wheels skid accordingly. In addition, since the dummy has been bodied in the vehicle, it is possible to predict the impact to a person when suddenly encountering the flooded road. This case shows the dynamic behavior of a rubber boot and lubricating oil up. As the rubber boot rotates, it shows a large deformation and self-contact. The changes in the behavior of the lubricating oil inside can be viewed accordingly. The following case is about washing machines. First of all, this case is a top-loading washing machine. Fluid flow is generated by the pulsator, and you can see how the flexible laundry behaves accordingly. This pulsator is composed of rigid bodies and interacts with the fluid. This laundry is made of a flexible body. These interactions represent a complex co-simulation between fluid and flexible laundry. The below case is a front-loading washing machine. Similar to the case of top loader, you can see that fluids interact with each other by the behavior of the front loader system, and flexible laundry behaves by the fluid flow accordingly. The final case shows the dynamic characteristics of the muffler according to the gas injection into an exhaust system. The muffler is composed of flexible bodies, and it is possible to confirm the internal-external stress distribution of the muffler when exhaust is injected. You can also check the stress distribution of the internal baffle, and based on this, even analyze the noise source. So far, I have introduced some cases of co-simulation between multi-flexible body dynamics and particle-based CFD. There is one more thing. This is a co-simulation case between multi-flexible body dynamics and solid particles using RecurDyn and EDAM. In the simulation of drilling a wall, the wall is made of solid particles. From this case, it is possible to predict what driving force is required for the drill according to the properties of the solid particles. You can also predict the tip breakage while drilling, since the end top of the drill is made of flexible body with RecurDyn. So far, I have introduced multiphysics simulations and the cases using multi-flexible body dynamics and particle-based CFD. If you have any similar problems or cases introduced in this seminar, please contact Function Bay to request demo or evaluation. You can request demo or evaluation from this link, or you can send us a mail using this email address. Hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching.